24-year-old Letitia Jones makes £5,000 a week from selling her toenail clippings, old bed sheets and even bottles of spit to strangers online.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And after earning enough to pay off her debts and buy her first home, she's now helping other women, like Freya, to do exactly the same. They're with us both now this morning. Good to see you both.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
So, Letitia, if we go back, because as Kat was saying, you had dreams and aspirations of being a doctor growing up.
Yeah, that's sort of kind of been the main thing, really. Like, I used to sit at home and, like, watch Casualty and stuff in front of the TV, and, like, that was kind of always where, like, my education had gone to.
Yeah.
So I went to university and I studied biomedical science, and then I left in the second year.
So you had these aspirations of doing something and being a doctor and helping people. And, of course, now that's changed significantly in a very different world now.
Yeah.
But what happened at university? Why were you on that path and then suddenly decided this isn't working?
I just think, really, like, I'm very money motivated, and I think when I was younger I didn't really understand to what degree that I loved to make money. So, like, the first kind of inkling of, like, when it was lockdown and, like, OnlyFans kind of came out on the rise, and I just thought, well, you know what, like, I can do it whilst I'm still in uni, like, it's not really that big of a deal. So that kind of happened.
And you were accruing debts at university as well,
Yeah, and everything was just, like, one thing after another, and I just thought, oh, it's got to be, like, a better way to do this. Like, I was working a part-time job too, and everything was just... Like, I just wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't, like, fulfilling me in the way that I thought that it would have done. So, really, the biggest factor was money.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's one kind of train of thought for doing OnlyFans. Where did the idea even come from? Had you heard somebody else was doing it and was making a vast amount of money doing it?
So it didn't come from anyone else, really, like another person. It came from a customer. So they'd messaged me and said, like, oh, this is, like, really weird, but I'm just wondering if, like, you will sell me your spit or shower water. And I was thinking... what on earth? Like,
yes,
what went
through your head?
I thought at first, like, he was joking, like it was just someone, like, just trying to take the mick or whatever. So I was just like, oh yeah, whatever, like, not expecting him to be like, okay, then actually send it to me. Like, I didn't even know, like, what the process would be, how to send it, what courier I use. Like, I didn't know anything. But it came from him, and he was just like, oh well, it's like a big, like, community of us who like weird and odd stuff. So I was just like, well, if it's there, then.
So then what did you do? Did you get onto Google and you were like, right, how much can I charge for this? What other things will people like?
So I actually charged £40 for the spit the first time, and that is, compared to now, what the prices are now is, like, shocking.
So how many years have you been doing this now?
So four or 5 years now.
OK, so in those 4 or 5 years, the amount that you sell these peculiar items to people for, to the men, has significantly gone up?
Yes.
OK. We'll come to that in a little bit, because that in itself is fascinating. How did you feel, though, about selling these things, very personal things that are sort of quite odd and a bit squeamish to think about? How did you feel about putting those in a post and sending it to somebody?
I think at the time when I first started, I didn't really think. I think only since, like, I've properly been posting on TikTok and, like, everybody else has kind of been like, oh, that's a little bit weird, I've then been like, maybe it is a bit strange. Like, I was just like, oh, whatever, like, blasé about it.
Because you were making money?
Yeah, so I wasn't really thinking. And, like, people will say, like, oh, what if you get framed for a crime and blah, 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 like, they're cloning you. I don't really think too much into it, because I'm like, oh, well, you sell your clothes on, like, Vinted or eBay or wherever, and people are still getting a part of you. Like, you might leave your sweat on there, you might leave something on the clothes that you don't necessarily know of.
So one of the concerns that other people have had is, if you're sending them your DNA, they could use your DNA to then sort of set you up for a crime down the line. That feels like something out of a movie. I mean, I hear what you're saying. However, the process of selling second-hand clothing on a platform like that you suggested, you don't think is that far removed from selling more personal, physical items from your being?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little bit naive. I don't know how far people think into it. I don't really like to delve too much into, like, thinking about it. I'm just like, well, somebody else is going to do it, so it might as well be me.
And tell me, who is your demographic? Like, who is your audience? What type of man or woman, actually? Yeah, customer.
Yeah.
Who would...
So it's really broad, like, it's very vast. Like, it could go from, like, being a middle-aged, like, businessman to, like, a 24-year-old uni student or something. Like, there is no in-between at all. My customers usually are male, but, like, there's lots of customers on the websites that are also female too.
You have bought your first property, paid off all your debts?
Yeah.
Bought your first property?
Yeah.
You're looking to buy another property now?
Yeah.
She's an entrepreneur.
Exceptionally lucrative.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Line of work. Do you find it satisfying?
Yeah. And I think from when I started and what I was doing in first to now, it's changed massively. Like, I feel so much more, like, comfortable, and my boundaries are so much more firm and in place, and I feel like I've got much more control over things now. So now compared to before, I love it.
What item is the most lucrative for you? What's the greatest sum of money you've earned for one item?
So the most expensive thing that I've sold is my spit for £1,500.
OK. And is that to a regular customer?
So I had a long-term kind of relationship with that person.
So he's developed a relationship with
Yeah. But on average now, like, there isn't anything really that's sold for less than, like, £400 or £500 from me.
Now, Freya's sitting alongside you because what you've started... I know, it's extraordinary.
It is amazing, though. No,
what you've started to do is you've started to reach out to other people who may be interested in it and help and guide them so they don't make the mistakes that you made up front.
Yeah.
How did you get involved then, Freya?
Do you know what? It was actually a bit of a weird one. It was in 2021. I came across Letitia's TikTok. It was your kitchen bin. And it was being double bagged, put into a box, sent off. And it was just...
You sold your bin to somebody, Letitia?
Yeah.
The contents of
the kitchen bin, yeah.
OK, sorry.
So that absolutely... I know, it was like, what is going on here? So then I started following Letitia. It was probably about a year later. I then thought, oh, do you know what? I'm going to get her guide. Obviously, that's when it was your original.
Yeah.
And now you have a community of girls that you're helping. And you've bought in some things that you sell. Now, talk us through what you've got on the table down there, starting with this one on the right. Is that your hair?
That's my hair. It's a mix of my actual hair and my hair extensions, obviously, just to kind of bulk it out a bit.
And if you were to sell that, how much do you think you would get for that?
Obviously, I'm fairly new into this, so that's maybe like a £50 kind of.
Pot.
Would you?
Right.
Yeah.
OK, as you're building up your reputation in your client base.
Exactly.
OK, next to that, we've got...
Toenails.
My
Letitia's.
toenails.
These, I imagine, would be quite prized possessions.
So I'm keeping those because the toes I've got on now need to also go in that pot. So that is £600 for the customer. He's already bought them, but I can't give them to him yet, so...
There's not enough.
Because he wants 2 sets.
Yes.
Left and
OK.
right.
Yeah.
And then next to that is your...
Acrylic nails. Those are actually sold.
Deaf Soul.
So they're off tomorrow. I'm going to send those. So they went for 40.
40.
But they're just my, like, normal.
They're just your acrylics. And then there's some slippers as well.
Also sold.
Sold as well.
So they're off to America, those.
And they're off to America.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long trip. What do your friends and family make of it?
So I think at first everyone was kind of like, Letitia, what is going on? Like, this is so strange. And I think because nobody really talks about it, nobody really knows that this is a real thing. But I think once everyone kind of got over the initial shock, everyone was just like, well, hey, if you're doing it and you're safe and you're enjoying it and you're making money and you're not feeling like you've got to do anything that you don't want to do, then hey, carry on.
And Freya, long term, I mean, obviously you're building up your business, but long term, how far do you see into the future doing something like this, or do you see it as a stepping stone to something different?
I mean, I think Letitia's been such an inspiration. So really, just following your footsteps.
Just doing what she's done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you, Letitia, when you had aspirations to become a doctor, some of the best people in society, and helping those people, do you ever sort of think, God, what happened to that dream? Or are you thinking, you know what, I'm a businesswoman now, regardless of what my product is, I've got customers that I'm satisfying, and I'm building a life for myself and my family, and that's all that matters?
I think I see it as my main goal. I'm like a really caring person, so I think that my goal for being a doctor has come from wanting to help people. So I feel like with what I'm doing now with our community, like I am still helping the women, because I'm opening them up to something that they can do safely that they would not have known about before, and I'm making them and helping them make money in a way that they wouldn't have been able to before. So in my opinion, I feel like I'm doing the same thing, just in a different way. Like, I still feel like I'm helping people. I'm just not in a hospital.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
absolutely fascinating. You would never think that
there was a market for everything.
ever.
Really.
There is.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for
you
sharing
so
your story.
Thank you for chatting to us this morning.
Our viewers will have very strong opinions about it.
I'm ready.
But, you know, regardless, you have set yourselves up and you're sort of self-sufficient and you know you're safe, which is crucial as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.